What are you doing there? You standing there?
Let's go in the main room.
Whiskers! Well, did you know that Whiskers was disappeared? The cat got out. I'm trying to get him in. We don't know how he got out. I think he got out in that hole. I think he got out in that hole. He jumped up there. Yeah. No, he got out in that hole. You told me to. He got out the hole. You said. Did you hear what I said, woman? What? He got out this hole here. That was the noise we heard. The raccoon did that to my new home. Isn't that terrible? They'll have the whole house down soon. Yeah. We'll be raided again. We'll be raided again by the village of East Hampton. You know, they Hampton for wearing red shoes on a Thursday and all that sort of thing. I don't know whether you know that. I mean, do you know that? And yet for almost anything.
Mother and daughter ordered to clean house or get out. John, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy Onassis' aunt and cousin in Long Island are living in a garbage-ridden, filthy 28-room house with 8 cats, fleas, cobwebs, and more. Sadness over grey gardens.
It's the Maisel.
Hi, Edie. The gentleman called.
I saw your car. One of my cats just
Edie,
got
you look
out.
fantastic.
David, you look absolutely terrific. Honestly, you've got light blue on. Well, Al, you're still. Mother says you're very conservative. Brooks, everything looks wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. This is the best thing to wear for the day. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I don't like women in skirts. And the best thing is to wear pantyhose or some pants under a short skirt, I think. Then you have the pants skirt. And then you can pull the stockings up over the pants underneath the skirt.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always take off the skirt and use it as a cape. So I think this is the best costume for the day.
Okay.
I have to think these things up, you know. Mother wanted me to come out in a kimono, so we had quite a fight. So what did you do? Photograph Brooks cutting right down here?
Yeah, they through the jungle.
Oh, for goodness sakes. What do you want to do now? Where do you want to go? Upstairs? You want to go up and photograph it from the top porch?
Okay.
They're going to photograph from the top now, Brooks.
It's a beautiful garden back here.
See the wall garden? Oh, you
So,
mean the patio?
Yeah.
You mean this?
Big
Oh, that's Spanish
Eddie
wall garden.
died
There,
in
you know.
1977.
The Hills put that in. They hoarded everything from Rome.
And little Eddie sold the house in 1979 for $220,000. The equivalent to $821,000 in 2021, probably like about $1 million worth now. It's probably worth more than $1 million. It was sold to Sally Quinn and her husband, the longtime Washington Post editor Ben Bradley, who promised to restore the dilapidate, dilap, um, dilapidated structure. The sale agreement forbade raising the house. The couple subsequently restored the houses and grounds. Little Eddie died in Florida in 2002 at the age of 84. Interesting. Um, Lois Wright, who was an American painter, one of the two birthday party guests in the film, hosted a public television show for 30 years in East Hampton from the early 1980s to December of 2018. She wrote a book about her experiences in the house with the Bills. And I never heard of that before. That Lois Wright, one of the two birthday party guests in the film, she's her best friend, probably a lesbiana, who was in on going to AA meetings, had a show for 30 years.
50 years I've been here. Less than 50 years. Oh, Edie? Are you around? Oh, Edie! Oh, the place in 2 years. God, if you knew how I felt, I'm ready to kill. Brooks wants his check, Mother Door. He's at the door. I told you I should do it now. $24 for 3 cuttings. Just a minute. You better bring the pen. I like to always hide somewhere. Don't be so mean. They don't want to be locked away, the poor little kitty. You know kitties. They're all some. Of course, I won't get out of here till she dies or I die. Who is she? I don't know when I'm going to get out of here. Well, why do you want to get out? Another place would be because I don't like it. Any place would be much worse. Any place on earth. Yeah, but I like freedom. Well, you can't get it, darling. You're being supported. You can't get any freedom when you're being supported. You can't? No, you can't. I think you're not free when you're not being supported. You have to tell them off. It's awful both ways. You don't look it. You look very young for 56 years of age. Don't you remember what you told me? I just like a couple of days on the beach. What was it you told me? That's all.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone.
$24. The screen. When are you gonna? You're in this world, you know. You're not out of the world. See if I can remember the date. Is it the 12th today? Oh, all certain compensations, I guess. Is it the 12th today? The old woman, she has to remember everything.
Edith B. Bouvier Beale, November 7, 1917, and died in January 14, 2002, nicknamed Little Eddie, was an American socialite, fashion model, and cabaret performer. She was the first cousin of Jacqueline Onassis and Lee Bouvier Radziwill. She is best known for her participation along with her mother with She lived in the 1975 documentary film of Grey Gardens by Albert and David Measles. Early life. Beale was born in New York City, the only daughter of Phil and Phil, a lawyer, and Edith Ewing Bouvier, known as Big Eddie, the daughter of Phil's law partner John Verneau Bouvier Jr. She was born at 1917 Madison Avenue, now the site of the Carlyle Hotel. She had two brothers, Phil and Bill Jr. Bouvier Beale, and had a lavish upbringing as part of America's Catholic aristocracy. Beale attended the Spence School and graduated from Miss Paul's School in 1935. Known as Little Eddie, Beale was a member of the Maidstone Country Club of East Hampton. She was presented to society as a fashion man and respecter of tradition.
All I have to do is find this Libra man. The Libra husband
Is
is
is reasonable.
reasonable. He is a born judge, and no other zodiacal type can order his life with so much wisdom. That's all I need. Order. That's all I need, an ordered life. You know, a manager. But he's got to be a Libra. Yeah. Oh, is that Jerry? For goodness sake. Jerry, you're Aquarius, and
From 1947 to 1955 years, she lived in the Barbizon Hotel for Women and worked as a model, dancer, and actress. When she was in her late 30s, Beale developed alopecia totalis, which caused her body hair to fall out and prompted her to wear her signature headscarves. Bill's cousin, John Davis, claims Bill once climbed a tree at the house and set her hair on fire, suggesting Bill might have contributed to her own baldness.
husband does not seek divorce unless the conditions of his life are not adjustable. I don't believe in divorce at all. I divorced.
Was your mother divorced? Oh, no.
No.
Separated.
Yes, and then my father got a fake Mexican divorce, and he did have another wife that we didn't recognize. It wasn't recognized by the Catholic Church. They don't recognize it. Hey, are you bossing me around this afternoon? I think that's too early. Oh, it is not the best one. This is the worst one of my wedding picture. That was so close. I don't think any of those.
In October of 1971, the year that I was born, actually, police raided Grey Gardens and found the house full of litter, rife with odor of cats, and in violation of various local ordinances. The Suffolk County, New York Board of Health prepared to evict Bill and Big Eddie due to the unsafe conditions of the property. Following the publicity, Bill's family paid a reported $30,000 to refurbish the property, settle back taxes, and give Bill and Big Eddie a stipend. The two-woman trust fund income had run out of some years before. The eviction proceedings were dropped.
He's the most brilliant man I've ever met. That's including Mr. Bill and Mr. Bouvier. Completely brilliant. She's cute, Mother. I like that very much, don't you, David? You said that.
So when Grey Gardens was filmed in 1975 by the Beals of Grey Gardens, the Measles, um, when Grey Gardens was the documentary of 1975 was filmed, prior to the documentary, there was another one that wasn't released until of late, which is basically last year, right, or this year. Um, Lee Radziwill hired documentary filmmakers Albert and David Measles in 1972 to work on a film about the Bouvier family at the outset of the brothers filming Bill Big Eddie. The original film project was not completed, and Radziwill kept the footage that had been shot of the Beals. However, the Measles brothers were fascinated by the strange life the two women led. After raising funds for film and equipment on their own, they returned and filmed 70 more hours of footage with Bill and Big Eddie, the resultant of 1975 film Grey Gardens.
I want to show it to Al.
But the documentary of Lee Radziwill right now, that's from Grey Gardens, um, some of the footage, I don't know if it's from the Beals because there is another photographer involved. Um, who did the movie, the first documentary that has been released 30 years later or 40 years later, 45 years later, after the fact of the measles 1975 um, um, Albert and David measles. So now the original footage featuring Radziwill visiting with the Bills was released in 2017. Sorry, not 2022. But obviously, it took a while to be on DVD and get it out. But it's called That Summer. But that summer, it says that Wikipedia does not have an article with this exact name. Please search for That Summer 2017 film in Wikipedia to check the alternative title or spellings. That Summer of 2017 does not exist. You can create a draft, okay? So, interesting. So, that summer, the Beals, Lee. Okay. Now I found it. Okay. So, very important. Very important. This is something really cool. Um, Montauk East Hampton, New York, 2016. Peter Beard discusses his work as a photographer, artist, and diarist before reminiscing of his attempt to make a documentary in the summer of 1972 with his friend Lee Radziwill, younger sister of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, focusing on their childhood and the 20th century history of the East Hampton. Okay, so
Oh my God, what happened? That's pretty that no. Terrific. Oh, that's very. Oh, I see it repeats. Yes, that's very important. That last. That's the cadenza. Look, do you want that? Aren't you mad about your record? I was very serious about missing. After you get that, you realize nothing is important. No, it isn't. Nothing. Well, my mother, she gave me the right slant on my voice. She told me to leave everything. Now I did compete against Mrs. Steele and Gould. No man in the world. Well, that worked for her. I wish you would play Laura. I think that's bothering about anything when she had a talent like that. Well, I took care of his house. I lived on no money. You were able to save the house on account of me. Yeah, I think I didn't want to live in East Hampton, but I had to on account of Mother's house. Well, now you see why you lived, because you had music all the time. That's right. And you went to the beach too. That's what you like. It wasn't the only thing. Well, I think dancing. We were very good at that. Did you see the play on Broadway? Come on, man. T for two and two for T and me for you and you for me. Alone. See us, or hear us, no friends or relations. a sugar cane for you to take, for all the boys to see. We can raise a family, a girl for you, a boy for me. Can't you see how happy we could be? If he's any good, the soft shoes out. If she's any good at all. It's all soft shoe now, This is a dance. Come on, Edie. I used to do it myself. I did that. Soft shoe. See us or hear us, no friends or relations, and weekend vacations. They won't have it, no, dear. But we always had a flower. No. I awake and start to bake.
Shoo, okay?
See for all the world to see. We can raise a family, a girl for you, a boy for me. Oh, can't you see how happy we would be? Even dancing at a waltz. Come on, get in here. Dance a waltz. How can you resist it? How can you resist that? La. Ah, 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 ah. Can't you see how happy we would be? Would be.
I've been getting paid $1,000, if not more, just from this app on my phone.
Not difficult at all. Do you think I'm gonna look funny dancing? No. I do terrific dances. I only care about three things: the Catholic Church, swimming, and dancing. I had to give them up.
Vogue magazine.
I almost died with the fleas in this place. I can't go on another year. I have to get to a hotel room.
Well, I bought a lot of stuff for you.
Wrote a story. Alessandra Codina wrote a story on the long lost prequel to Grey Gardens that resurfaced, starring Lee Radziwill, on April 2018.
I'm absolutely terrified. I'm not a bit terrified.
I will post the link right there.
I like the terrible noise you hear at night. Terrible drilling sounds. I never go to sleep unless the whole pavement is jumping outside, and it's 100 degrees, and that drill is just going, and then I just go to sleep.
Okay. It's hard to imagine a property that's loomed larger over the worlds of film and fashion than one depicted in Albert and David Measles' 1975 documentary of Grey Gardens.
You almost have to listen to Peels about 5 seconds. What the hell? I worship the Catholic. I'm going to invite Bob Huntington over to spend the whole entire night with me. I don't know what to do. I love the church so much. Here it is.
So get on top of things and stay there.
What do you women do?
For if you do not do this, it is very likely that things will get on top of you.
Isn't he terrific?
So in 1975, the documentary of Grey Gardens, the one that I just posted on the chat room, there's a direct link of the movie that I'm watching right now. which follows the aristocratic and deeply eccentric Little and Big Eddie Bouvier Beale as they narrate around the crumbling East Hampton pile they share with an ever-expanding number of stray animals. The Beales cousins to the famous and famously well-heeled Jackie Onassis in Lee Ratswell had an assured different sense of style compared to their rare cousins, rare-feed cousins preferring fraying house cats and carefully clasped together turban top ensembles made out of lace curtains and bedspreads to the chicly streamlined sportswear of the early 1970s, and similarly eschewing the Tony enclaves of the Upper East Side for their decrepit, decrepit estate on the east end of Long Island. There, they performed for their company like prom dates, alternately flirting with the filmmakers and wistfully wondering aloud over the many perceived mistakes that delivered them to their current predicament of near Gothic decay. Brocking engagements, abandoned creative endeavors, and errant husbands, so many missed chances.
He was cool. Now, one thing is sure. The human mind will not function when it is hot. Only when it is cool and dispassionate.
Dispassionate. That was the word I wanted the other day. I couldn't think of what it was.
I think it would be a good idea if every day every individual would look at himself in the mirror earnestly and ask the question, who am I? Am I a weak person? Am I a defeated person? Am I an inferior person? Not at all. I am a child of God, and I was intended to get on top of things, and I was intended to stay there.
Very good. That was very long. Very long. Notice how it went on and on and on. Let's hear the prayer. I mean, the song. You sing the song. Dark song. Sing it. No emotion. Never give up. I'm going to keep on top. Way up high up on top. I'm going to way to smother somebody. Did you pass your mirror over here? I've got to see what I look like. Don't drop it. That was wonderful. I see why I got cataract. I have astigmatism, one eye pulled against the other, and I should have worn glasses. I didn't. Oh, I told you to wear glasses. So anything else you want to know? You got the glasses about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, Edie. You got the glasses, you didn't wear them. You have to wear glasses when you have any trouble. And my hair will grow, I hope, here.
Dress for battle, Edie.
Mother telling Marjorie how spoiled I am, how terrible I am. And Marjorie knew my father and my uncle. Mother's giving her all this SHIT, so I went and told them things about the family. But you see, in dealing with me, the relatives didn't know that they were dealing with a staunch character. And I tell you, if there's anything worse than a staunch woman, STAUNCH. There's nothing worse, I'm telling you. They don't weaken, no matter what. But they didn't know that. How would they didn't know? You know, my father made up his mind about what Farmington produced, what the Sacred Heart Convent produced. I don't think he was so down on the Spence School. But he certainly was down on Farmington. I don't know why. Farmington was a junior college. You could choose what you wanted to study. Perhaps that was what made my father dislike it so, that I could choose. But I chose what I thought he'd want me to choose. You know, English literature and Oriental philosophies. And I always took French, but nothing ever happened there. I can read and write in French, but I can't speak it. I had years and years and years of French. Terrible.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone.
This was taken by Amy DuPont, but my last year in Farmington, I was 17.
Edie, that's so beautiful.
Mr. Wainwright did that. He was an artist from a very good family. He was in the social register. He did it in the solarium of Grey Gardens. Of Grey Gardens. Was that a fashion show? Of Grey Gardens. Let me see that.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
Did I see that?
Wow, look at the
I thought it was the cat's pajamas in that. Let me see it, Edie. See how pretty Edie was when she was young? It's perfectly foolish of her not to look that way now. She could, you know. She didn't worry about it. Did she look like a girl that had everything? This is inspiring.
I should get another brown tailored suit and grow my hair. My God!
I have no hair. Never put any lipstick on for this picture, did you?
Have another kind.
You look horrible. Why didn't you put lipstick and makeup on?
Mr. Beale smashed the window with big rock when he put this in the window on Upper Madison Avenue.
For God's
He
sake.
offered me a job. He didn't say to get out of that family situation, but he said, you need a job, Mr. Beale.
Didn't you expect that Edie might get married someday?
Oh, I did. I wanted to. Oh, I picked out some nice men. She didn't like the men I picked out. She could have married this Gerald Geddes. He was a millionaire, gave her a gorgeous ring. She decided not to marry that guy. She had to give the ring back. Oh, she had a proposal of marriage from Paul Geddes. Remember Paul, the richest man in the world?
He married Teddy Lynch.
Then you could have married Jordan McClanahan. He was another millionaire. You wanted to marry him. She just didn't want to get married. That's all blamed on me.
No, I never fell in love when I was 30.
But how old are you in these pictures?
24.
24, that old?
1940.
Very young looking for 24.
France had just fallen to Hitler.
But you never fell for a
Paris,
man.
excuse me.
France
Right.
fell, but Edie didn't fall. That was the thing. See, they didn't tell us that when we studied World War I, that everything was so awful with the Versailles Treaty, that we were soon going to get into something. 4 years after I got out, if I'd only known it, I would have just enjoyed every single minute, just done everything.
It must have been tough for people. I remember as a kid, so many loved ones being killed. But you were the dating age.
A lot of my friends went overseas and got married. They went in the Red Cross. They went to India, Australia. They all got married. One of my best friends went to Australia. If I'd been able to go, she might have persuaded me to go with her. And she met somebody in the hospital. She was working for the Red Cross, and she never came back to New York. I never had a chance to do anything like that because Mother wasn't well during the war. She had her eye operation.
I missed out on everything. I missed out on the reunion of my graduating class in Farmington because that was the fall of Jack Kennedy campaign to get in. And I was stuck here with Mother, the cats, the house, and T. Logan. And I couldn't go.
No, you said you didn't want them to know how old you were, you said.
No, I think
Well, I didn't want them to know my age, says Edie.
No, I would have enjoyed that, Mother, because Jack Kennedy campaigned to get in and won.
Get into Farmington School, that'd be a good place for him.
I don't know. I think it would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, everything's good that you didn't do. At the time, you didn't want it.
I couldn't get away.
Well, that's the choice. You can't go back and say, feel gorgeous right
I couldn't
now,
leave.
and say, oh, why didn't I do
couldn't
this?
leave.
Because you didn't feel then the way you do now. Everybody thinks and feels differently as the years go by, don't they?
Yeah.
What time is it, chickens?
What time is it? It's
I'm going to go in there.
1:30.
I may need David's hand.
You have it.
Where is it? Can you come around this way?
Sure.
Are you taking pictures?
Always.
Oh, it's over
Yeah.
there.
Two roads diverged in yellow wood, and pondering both, or pondering each, pondering one, I took the other, and that made all the difference.
Robert Frost.
Isn't that wonderful?
Did he say that?
That's all you need, just 3
Come
lines
on,
like
is that
that.
Robert Frost?
Who else? Two roads
I think you're for
diverged in yellow
Well,
wood,
when you said that, we want something
and
else.
pondering one,
Oh,
I took
right.
the
You
other,
think you're not teaching
and
us.
that made all
We
the
don't
difference.
want to learn it. It's very pretty.
Isn't that
Uh,
amazing?
No, I don't think it's half as good as your
They
poem.
looked the same, and he probably couldn't tell, and yet I wish I could remember the correct line.
This is why she wasn't losing weight.
I worked out every day for a year and just lost 10 pounds. I've been
I was exhausted. I danced 8 hours last night practicing the marching song. My God, my muscles, I can't do it. I'm telling you, what am I going to do? They're gone with this soft life. We all march together for love is fine. We all stand together, united we don't. All march together, for we love the land. It's the spirit of me and mine. We all march together for life isn't when they do that, that's when the plane goes by, see? So I'm doing the damn on marching song, which is a ground maneuver. Anyway, I gotta get it all coordinated in my mind. Hey, Mom, I'm working on my kids. Mom.
You see, she doesn't want to eat anymore about that, so I have to sit in and starve all the
How
time.
can I eat?
I think I lost 5 pounds. Well, don't live with me. I want to eat. Will you eat some liver pate? Okay, no. Kitties, you put lemon with it. So. Don't do it. Have a sandwich.
So
Oh, it always
I
was
put the
of
link
ice
of the
cream.
summer
I
movie,
know,
that
the
summer
$171
movie on
just
the
for
chat
ice.
room. And
You have to make it.
also,
I can't. No, again,
um,
I ate in front of the Maisels the other day. You have to make it. I'm very embarrassed. No. I ate all that chicken.
She was still in that room.
after
babe. You like the green? That chapter.
after Peter Beard and Lee Raswell shelved their film project, um, Albert and David Measles later returned to Grey Gardens and went to make their masterpiece. So that summer was filmed in 1971 and 1972 probably, and maybe 73. Um, it is not very clear if they use the Albert and David Measles to recreate the pre-sequel. Only that Peter Beard actual that summer was filmed by Peter Beard, and I'm not sure if they use the they're not crediting the bills because they don't really there's not really good explanation of that summer, right? It's very confusing. Does that summer have actual footage that Lee Raswell got from the measles? So basically, she owned the rights to the measles footage. She probably paid for it, right? And then they didn't do anything with the footage, but Peter Beard did make some footage of that summer, which he recalls. It's basically kind of like a documentary of his personal life with the measles and Lee Raswell. Um, After that, Lee didn't want to do any didn't want to make a documentary anymore, and the Measles decided to raise their own money to make Great Gardens, which they started filming in 1975, and they probably ended it in 1975. Um, and yeah, and so, and then Big Eddie died in 1978, and let's see what else. And then Little Eddie, of course, died in 1975. The Great Gardens is currently up for sale for $18 million. Okay, so very interesting story. On June 12th, 2021, that summer actually came out on YouTube. Prior to, I could say in 2018, the house was worth, it's not very clear again. They bought it for like 220 in the 70s, and then maybe like in the 90s it was worth like about a million, but now that house is actually worth about 18 million, or it's going up for sale for 18 million dollars, as stated in the movie that summer on the credits. So Albert and David Masel's classic Grey Gardens immortalized the estate of Edith and Little Eddie Beale, the relatives of Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, who lived in almighty poor conditions. But there is more to the story. It was Lee Radziwill with Peter Beer who first brought the measles to the Beales, because they were going to make a movie with Lee Radziwill. Obviously, we already know that. And it was Lewis with Peter Weir who first brought the measles to the bees. When the two set out to make a film about Radziwill's childhood, the reels of the first contact were shelved for 45 years, like I just said earlier, without even knowing that the film was probably shelved for 45 years to, yeah, 45 years. This documentary recovers the lost footage, anchored in Beer's recollections and artistic vision. We are returned to that summer in 1972, actually, a seductive dream world and collage of radically unconventional creative personalities: Warhol, Bacon, Jagger, Capote, practicing the art of living amidst oppressive forces of class expectations and prejudice. And I find it very interesting that Truman Capote, who was good friends with Halston, by the way, um, and Andy Warhol, that in the first movie they appeared because Peter Beard made these movies that were also found. So, but it's not very clear if they use the Beals, measles Beals, um, footage that they acquired, because the footage from the documentary of Grey Gardens from 1975, which there are two. There's a part one, there's the original documentary of Grey Gardens that came out in 1975. And 30 years later, or 35 years later, 10 years before that summer, came out a second documentary of the Grey Gardens, which is that's just another documentary that came out with a CD that had also a rare interview. Well, see, I know so much about Grey Gardens because since the 90s, because in the 80s there was a lot of there wasn't really like VHS. It was more like um, bootlegs of the movie that people recorded in the theater, and then they became VHS, and it was like an underground thing where people would get the movies, which I acquired back in the 80s, um, in the 90s. Sorry, in the 1992 or 93, and so I mean I can stay all night and talk about the measles, um, but So there's Grey Gardens 1975, and then there's Grey Gardens, a second movie, which is footage that was all new footage for the second documentary of 1975. Then there is a on here on my YouTube channel. I have some videos of of little Eddie talking about when she met Andy Warhol. My recording of that is very rare, and it is still very, very rare because it's not something that you can find. Um, many moons ago, I would say like 15 years ago, somebody was selling a cassette on eBay, which I bought for a lot of money, and it was a recorded cassette interview from some school, from some kids that were doing a newspaper article on their school, and they decided to do their article on Grey Gardens on Little Eddie. And so they interviewed Little Eddie, and they asked after the fact of the documentary, and so they interviewed her, and they in that interview was founded somebody they found the cassette recording, the whole recording of the interview, like 40 years later or 30 years later, and somebody sold the copies, very few of them, on eBay. And because I used to search things for, like just like rare things, I'm always like finding clothing from Grey Gardens, which I actually own a couple of pieces. But and maybe that could be another video, or maybe I'll just show you the video right now since we're watching the Grey Gardens in the background.
I took care of this damn house for 25 years. Dare say my mother was ever taken care of by any man but my father, and I'll push you under the goddamn bed.
No, Eddie, I think Al was referring to Gould.
He took care of mother by accompanying her to the movies and playing the piano.
Took care of me and the washing.
No one took care of Mrs. Beale. She had my father's money and her own money, the Bouvier money. And another thing, Mrs. Beale wasn't taken care of sexually.
I think he was nicer than anybody I've ever known in my whole life. He was a writer. He wrote 7 books at one time. He was brilliant. And he played the piano magnificently and composed exquisite music and dedicated about 80 songs to me.
So Edie didn't have to.
No, she didn't have to worry the way she did. No.
She made me leave the bar.
So that was. Well, I thought you'd been in New York long enough. You were getting lines in your face.
I didn't want to leave. I was getting my big chance.
Oh, no, you were not. That married man was not going to give you any chance at all. You were not.
I was going to get it.
Well, you didn't get it. You missed out.
I was just getting out what you call.
Now, listen, you were wasting that thing on this because that's nuts.
When she said I had to come
Well, I
home.
thought you should come home.
Well, anyway,
I thought it
she
was
started
time.
out pressuring me to come back in March 1952, and she kept it up to the end of
Anyways, so Grey Gardens that summer, it's not very. I could probably go back and see the whole movie of that summer again, which I've seen, and it's really cool to see it because it was made pre 1975, and the footage was found, and now they have that. In 2021, they actually put it up on YouTube, and I just put the link. The final cut for real, prologue. Anyways, So basically, I think that that summer that movie was made by Peter Beard, but I don't think that it has the actual David Measles original footage that was. I don't think that they put the footage on the Peter Beard one because it's from the Measles. So that footage that Lee has is still yet to be seen.
In the glowing thrill, sparkling wine. Make the most of time, it has flown. Thrill me with flaming desire, setting my being completely on fire. Oh, you and the night and the music dance.
So, like I was saying about this cassette that I found that I bought on eBay was later released with on a CD. Not maybe I don't think it was a DVD, but it was a CD that was later released when you bought the Grey Gardens book. That's also a very rarity to find that book with this interview or anyways. I know because I don't have the cassette with me or the DVD or the CD. They came out over a decade ago, many moons ago. I can't say where it was released, who was it. Only that at the time when YouTube started, I made a video with a drawing that I did of little Eddie with the backdrop sound of my recording of of little Eddie talking about Andy Warhol that is not available on a movie. It was somebody's recorded interview for a school, and probably if you see this and you can find it, I would appreciate if you put the link to know more where it came from. But I actually own this. Um, I actually own, obviously because it's here on my YouTube, so I actually own the video. And it's a very hard, if you just want to go to my page and just search Medavog Bill Bouvier, you'll see like I'm drawing the sketch of little Eddie with the music, with the sound of her talking about when she made Andy Warhol. Anyways,
What I should have done was leave and he would have left. Oh, right,
okay,
you don't believe in
this
religious
is
compulsion.
bullshit.
It's a religious
This,
thing. God left.
okay, so right now in the documentary of Grey Gardens from 1975 by M. Driver 1981 on YouTube, when you play um, um, when you're on the minutes 49 minutes and 37 seconds, 49 minutes and 37 seconds of Grey Gardens 1975 by YouTuber M. Driver 1981. You can see this scarf on her I'm wearing now on this time. The actual time of this video is 55. I'm gonna say 6 seconds. 56 minutes. At 56 minutes, you're gonna see something amazing if you put on 49 second, 50 minute, and the 50-minute of Grey Gardens 1979 on my 56 minutes of this video, you're gonna see something amazing right now. Okay.
He would have left.
No, and I deserve.
Well, he
didn't want to
all
go.
alone in the house for home.
You know,
All I had to do was leave. I'm so stupid.
well, where would I have been? I've been all alone in the house.
I think you would have, Molly. Why?
Anyways,
All the porn is at the door. It can wait.
we're gonna have to go back.
For one night.
That's the story of what I said.
Okay. If you go back to 50 minutes. Oh wait, 47 minutes. Wait.
No, you told me not to have him back there.
Like I watched Tom.
If you put it on 48 minutes of Grey Gardens from the documentary, you're gonna see something amazing. The scarf that she's wearing is from this same designer, Alfred Dunhill.
And I didn't care for her composer friend. And it's for Tom Logan. He drove me crazy in the house.
I love Tom. He played the guitar so beautifully. He sang in the rodeo, and he even was in Hollywood. You'd have to admire somebody like that.
She's a pushover.
He has no
And then he
place
asked
to
my
go.
mother, he said, I just retired from the sea spreading. Would you like a maintenance man? Mother took him home.
I didn't want to make this
That's the
man. I
story
said, I'll
of
take you
Tom
home for one night.
That's the story of
What I
Tom
said.
Logan.
It wasn't a thing he didn't know how to do. He could fix anything. Rice, plumber, thing. He knew how to do everything. Except I'm a terribly clever man.
Work? He made good salads, but he was drunk.
Oh no. He came up there every morning at 6 o'clock. Knocked on my door. We talked over the menu for the day, including a half a bottle of rosé and Vienna wine.
Actually, you couldn't get rid of him on getting the rations on the gate if he would have left.
All right, you don't believe in religious compulsion and religious things.
If I left, he would have left.
No, and I deserve
Well,
he didn't want
So-
to go alone in the house for Tom.
to.
All I had to do was leave. I'm so stupid.
So
Where
basically,
would I have been? I've been all alone in the house.
this scarf
I think you would have.
that was made by Alfred Dunhill is from an artist named
All the corn is at the door. It can wait. Let Jerry hurry up. I'm gonna look at this path without Jerry.
the artist's name is called his name is Bod
$67. You can make as many videos as
Bedmarsky
you want.
for
You
Dunhill,
never need to pick
New
up a
York.
camera or use any fancy editing software.
So this scarf is from the New York skyscrapers. As you can see, it was made in the 60s. So the Twin Towers are not here yet because this scarf was made before the Twin Towers, if I'm not mistaken. And the one that she's wearing is from the same collection, but from the San Francisco skyline. And there's Chicago, San Francisco, New York City, and I think there's 4 of these, and this is like a really rare one. Anyways,
Anything, rice, plumber thing. He knew how to do everything. Except I'm a terribly clever man.
at
Work?
48
He made good salads, but he was drunk.
at
Oh,
48
no. He
minutes,
came up there every
you
morning
can
at 6
see this
o'clock.
scarf,
Knocked on my
the
door.
same
We
collection
talked
on
over
her.
the menu for the day. including a half a bottle of Rosé Vienna, or wine, whatever it's called.
Naturally, couldn't get rid of him now he stayed here. What I should have done was leave and he would have
Well,
left.
all right, you don't believe in religious compulsion. It's a religious thing.
If I'd left, he would have left.
No, and I deserve.
Would have been too
Well, he didn't want to
much.
go.
Alone in the house for time.
He didn't
All
want-
I had to do was leave. I'm so disciplined.
Well, where would I have been? I've been all alone in the house.
I think you would have, Molly. Why?
All the phone is at the door.
Wait.
Let Jerry in. Hurry up. I'm gonna look at this tab without Jerry. La da 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 da. La da dee da da. This is a sea of leaves. Complete sea of leaves. If you lose something, you can't find it again. It drops to the bottom. I lost my scarf. I'll never get it again. Best scarf I ever owned was beautiful color blue. It dropped. You know, it fell off my head. Hello? Oh, hello, Jerry, darling. Do you want to come in?
I just came for the faucet so I can get one out from the hardware store.
Your mother said you called. Was that you on the phone very early? How are you? I'm looking at you now. I'll come down and let you. Would you want to come up here? You want to come up? Mother's screaming to have me let you in. I better do it.
Yeah, back door.
I'll come right down.